Hi, welcome to another video. So, you've probably noticed this by now. Every single time you ask an AI coding tool to build you a front end, you get the same thing. Interfont for everything, a purple to blue gradient somewhere on the page, cards nested inside cards, and those little rounded icon tiles above every heading. It doesn't matter if you're using Claude Code, Cursor, or anything else. Every model was trained on the same SAS templates, so every model gives you the same AI slop design. Well, today we're looking at a tool that tries to fix exactly that. It's called Impeccable, and it's basically a design skill for your AI coding agent. It's fully open source under the Apache 2.0 license. It's free, and it has blown up on GitHub with over 48,000 stars, which is kind of crazy for a design skill. It's made by Paul Bakaus, who has been in the web dev space for a very long time, so this isn't some random prompt pack that someone threw together over a weekend. It's one skill, 23 commands, a live browser iteration mode, and 41 deterministic detector rules that can catch bad design patterns without even calling an LLM. So let's get right into it and see what this thing actually does. First, let's talk about what Impeccable actually is. At its core, it's a skill that gets installed into your AI coding tool. Once it's in there, your agent gets a proper design vocabulary and a set of quality standards to follow when it builds front-end interfaces. Instead of the model just vibing its way to another generic dashboard, it now has actual guidance on typography, color, spacing, motion, and all the stuff that separates a decent UI from AI slop. And the best part is that it's not locked to one tool. It works with Claude Code, Cursor, OpenCode, Gemini CLI, Codex CLI, GitHub Copilot, VS Code, Kiro, Tray, RovoDev, Coder, and a few others. So whatever agent you're using, you can probably plug this in, which is pretty great. Now, let's get it installed and see how it works. The installation is super simple. You have a few options, but the recommended one is just a single command. Open your terminal and run npx impeccable skills install. That's it. It'll detect which AI tools you have set up and install the skill for them. If you're working in a team and want to vendor it into your repo, you can also add it as a Git submodule and then link it with the skills link command, where you pass the -- source flag pointing to the submodule folder and the -- providers flag with something like Claude, Cursor. There's also a plugin marketplace option for Claude Code, and you can even just download a zip from their website, impeccable.style, and copy the files manually. But honestly, the npx command is the easiest way, so I just go with that. Once it's installed, the first thing you want to do is run the init command. So in your AI tool, you just type /impeccable init. This kicks off a one-time setup where the agent asks you a few questions about your project. The main one is whether your project is brand-focused, like a landing page or a portfolio, or product-focused, like an app UI or a dashboard. Based on your answers, it creates two files in your project. The first is PRODUCT.md, which stores your target audience, your brand positioning, your voice and tone, and even anti-references, which are basically things you don't want your design to look like. The second is DESIGN.md, which becomes your design system reference with your color palette, typography choices, and component definitions. And this is the clever part. Every other Impeccable command reads these files before doing anything. So the agent isn't just following generic design advice, it's following design decisions that are specific to your project. This is quite great to see, because it's the same idea as giving your agent a proper spec instead of hoping it guesses right. Now, let's talk about the commands, because this is where the real value is. There are 23 of them in total, and I won't go through every single one, but let me show you the ones that matter most. The big one is /impeccablecraft. This is the complete flow where the agent first shapes the UX, plans the design, then builds it with visual iteration. If you only learn one command, it's this one. Then you have the review commands. /impeccablecritique does a UX design review, looking at hierarchy, clarity, and whether the design actually resonates. /impeccable audit does the technical checks, so accessibility, performance, and responsiveness. And /impeccable polish is the final pass before shipping. Then there's a whole set of adjustment commands that work like dials. If your design is too boring, you run /impeccable bolder to amplify it. If it's too loud, /impeccable quieter tones it down. /impeccable distill strips it down to its essence. There's colorize for adding strategic color, typeset for fixing typography, layout for spacing and rhythm, and animate for adding purposeful motion instead of those dated bounce animations. There are also some really practical ones that people usually forget about. /impeccable harden goes through your UI and handles error states. Text overflow internationalization, and edge cases. /Impeccable onboard focuses on first-run flows and empty states, which is something almost every AI-generated app completely ignores. And then there's /impeccable overdrive, which adds technically extraordinary effects when you want to show off a bit. One more nice touch is that if you use a command a lot, you can pin it. So running /impeccable pin audit gives you a standalone /audit command, which saves you some typing. That's super cool as well. Now, let's come to my favorite part, which is the detector system. Impeccable ships with 41 deterministic detector rules, and the key word here is deterministic. These run through the CLI without any LLM and without any API key, so they're instant and they cost you nothing, which many of the students who watch my channel would like because you don't need to burn tokens just to check your design. To use it, you just run npx impeccable detect and then point it at whatever you want to check. You can pass it a source folder, a single HTML file, or even a live URL. There's also a -- fast flag and a -- JSON flag, so you can plug it straight into your CI pipeline, and fail builds that ship slop, which is honestly a really good option for sure. And the rules themselves are hilarious, because they're basically a hit list of every AI design cliché. It catches purple to blue gradients, overused fonts, like Inter and Arial, gray text on colored backgrounds, pure blacks that should be tinted, cards nested inside cards, those rounded icon tiles above headings, bounce and elastic easing, dark glows, and side tab borders. It also catches general quality issues like excessive line length, cramped padding, touch targets that are too small, and skipped heading hierarchy. So basically someone sat down, cataloged all the tells of AI-generated design, and turned them into lint rules. Chef's kiss, really good stuff. So what's my verdict on this? I think this is one of the smartest uses of the skills system that I have seen yet. Most skills people share are just prompt collections, but Impeccable combines three things that actually work together: structured project context through the init flow, a shared command vocabulary for design operations, and deterministic linting that doesn't cost you a single token. That combination is why it works. Is it going to magically turn every AI-generated frontend into award-winning design? No. The model still does the actual work, and taste is still taste. If your underlying model is weak at frontend, Impeccable will make it less bad, not brilliant, and there is a bit of a learning curve with 23 commands, although realistically you'll live in craft, critique, audit, and polish most of the time. But considering that it's completely free, open source, works with basically every AI coding tool out there, and the detector alone is worth the install, there's really no reason not to try it. If you're building any kind of front end with AI agents, just run the npx command and give it a shot. It's not perfect, but the upsides make it super worth it. Overall, it's pretty cool. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, consider donating through the super thanks option or becoming a member by clicking the join button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.